lovely bunch of coconuts, and there they are standing in a row. Big ones, small ones, now the things are red. You give it a twist, a flick of the wrist, and what the show to say. Oh, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Every ball you throw will make me rich. And there stands me white, the idol of my life, singing roll a ball a ball and penny. Everybody singing roll a ball and penny a fish. Singing roll a ball and penny a fish. Roll a ball, roll a ball, singing roll a ball and penny.
How's it going, gang? It's the final render here, and as some of you may know, at the start of the month I was invited down to play Rage 2 by Bethesda at their London offices, and this is going to be a video talking about Rage 2 now that the embargo has lifted. I've been sitting on all this juicy info for about a month now, and I've wanted to tell you guys about it for a long time. But there are some things I kind of need to explain before I start telling you guys about it, and that is that I played the game for 90 minutes and I was given the entire open world of the game. Most of the people who've played Rage 2 already normally play it at some kind of event like a games convention or something like that, and for what I was told, some of those people only got to play it for maybe 10 or 20 minutes or so, and they got to play it in a very small confined area of the game. Whereas I was given the entire open world and I was given a full 90 minutes to play it. Whilst 90 minutes really wasn't that much to actually play of this game considering how big it was, more on that later, but I was able to explore the entire feel of the game and what it was like. So let's get going with some new information on Rage 2. So Rage 2 takes place a couple of decades after the events of the first Rage game, and we were assured by the studio director of id Software that you don't actually need to have played the first Rage game in order to enjoy the second Rage game. The second Rage game pretty much does stand on its own 2 feet, so that's actually pretty good because the first Rage game did come out quite a while ago now. It came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era of games consoles. And Rage 2 is developed by id Software and is also co-developed with Avalanche Studios. So we've got 2 very highly decorated studios building the same open world. Now, id Software did give us a little bit of a rundown of the story. I'm not really going to spoil it here, but to kind of summarize the world of Rage, the simple explanation to the entire franchise is giant meteor comes to hit the earth, some people hide away in arcs in order to survive, and some people stay on the surface. Some people survive on the surface and become raiders or make their own towns and factions, etc. So all the stuff that we love in a post-apocalyptic survival story. And the actual game itself takes place in one giant open world map. As I said, I got to explore huge amounts of the open world, and there are lots of different biomes and towns throughout this entire map. There are some places which are kind of open, flat desert. There are lots of very rocky cliffs. There are some places which are covered in swampland. I didn't actually get to explore any of those places in the 90 minutes that I was able to play it, but there is a large amount of huge, varied places to explore with towns and cities and open countryside for you to go and fight and explore and have fun. And when you actually travel in this world, you have multiple ways to kind of get around. Firstly, you can travel on foot, and you can travel very, very fast throughout this. It's got a very fast movement speed, this game, as you'd expect from id Software titles. And of course, this game, one of the coolest things about Rage is its huge emphasis on vehicles. If you love the kind of Mad Max style vehicles with lots of vehicle combat, then you are going to love Rage. We've got lots of very highly customized vehicles in the game. We've got kind of 4x4s, we've got tanks, we've even got a flying vehicle in there, which I unfortunately was not able to find. I was really hoping to find that. And some of the weapons that you can equip onto these vehicles are insane. You've got giant miniguns, you've got missile launchers, you've got kind of earthquake ground slamming machines which you can put onto your vehicles. And there is a huge emphasis on vehicle combat. And it's something really, really cool to see vehicle combat done well, because vehicle combat is a very hard thing to do, but Rage 2 does a really, really good job of it, especially in the open world. So when you're just driving around, you can naturally, accidentally just uncover a huge convoy of enemy vehicles, and you can suddenly make it your mission to take down this enemy convoy, and it is really, really satisfying to do so. When you're on foot, however, you still have a huge amount of mobility. You've got the ability to do some basic mantling and kind of parkour kind of maneuvering. You've got lots of speed on your character. Your character can run very fast indeed. And you've also got some extra abilities that will help you move around. More on the abilities later, but you've got things like dashing abilities, you've got double jump abilities, the ability to kind of hover in the air and rain down gunfire on your enemies. Really, really cool to kind of have that high mobility in such a fast-paced action shooter, and it's something which really sets Rage 2 apart from maybe other open-world post-apocalyptic survival games. This huge emphasis on maximum speed and maximum combat effectiveness. But final render, you Titanic Superman! I don't want to run away from all of the enemies, I want to take them down with big guns like you normally would in an id Software game. Well, Rage 2 has got you covered, don't you worry about that. The amount of weapons you have got in the game is pretty awesome, and all the weapons have some kind of extra fire mode as well, which is something really nice. Some of them are pretty simple, like the assault rifle for example. Your special ability is that you can aim down sights and be more accurate with it, which is pretty simple. But you've also got things like the shotgun, so that when you have the shotgun, you can fire as a spread when you fire from a hip, or if you aim down sights, it converts your rounds into slug rounds. So you get one single, very powerful, very accurate shot from the shotgun when aiming down sights, or you get a spread when you are aiming from the hip. Some of the other weapons are a little bit crazier, however. For example, there is a pistol which you can get in the game, which fires bullets as you would normally expect. However, when you trigger the special ability of this pistol, all the bullets you just fired will burst into flames, incinerating your enemy, which is a really cool thing. And you'll find yourself naturally just using all of these crazy alternate fires along with the main fire of all these weapons, just because you can. It's fun to go ahead and be crazy with all these different kinds of weapons. You could argue it's just effective to just grab the regular assault rifle and just aim down sights and take out your opponents as you would normally expect. But you naturally want to use all these abilities, and it is great fun to very quickly swap weapons, swap all the different abilities around, and just have fun with the weapons. And you can definitely get some really insane chain effects going when you start to swap weapons very quickly and use all of the alternate fires. Something else which is very cool in Rage 2 is all of the abilities you have. You do get kind of special abilities which you unlock throughout the game by visiting all the old arcs which you can find. If you remember, those were where all the survivors from pre-war were actually stored away. And you can get some special abilities by finding these various arcs around the map. All of these abilities can be triggered very easily just by hitting a button, and you can get some really crazy action going when you start to combine all of these special abilities. One ability you can find, for example, is a kind of gravity ball which you can throw. You throw it near some enemies, and then all of the enemies will instantly be attracted to this gravity ball. So you can throw this gravity ball onto an explosive barrel, for example, and then lots of nearby enemies will be attracted at very high speed towards the explosive barrel, making it detonate and having lots of fun. There are also abilities like the slam ability, which allows you to jump in the air and then rain down with this big power fist and kind of gives an area of effect damage. That actually saved me quite a lot when I was cornered. I was able to just jump in the air as high as I could and slam down, and that would get me out of a lot of bad messes. And you'll definitely be using as many of these abilities as you can, because there is one overall kind of overarching ability called overdrive, and that is when you get lots of kills very quickly, you will be charging your overdrive meter. And once that gets to its max, you can trigger your overdrive ability, and that gets you more speed, more health, more damage, just overall gives you an enormous buff. And the more abilities you combine, the more weapon swapping you combine, the quicker you can fill this overdrive, and the quicker you can take out large enemies, which is a fantastic incentive to try out all the different weapons, try out all the abilities in very rapid succession. And you've got a huge variety of enemies to try out all of these weapons on. There are various human factions that you can find throughout the game. For example, there is the Goon Squad, which is your typical raiders that we are seeing in games like Fallout, for example, and Mad Max. You know, the Mohawks and all the crazy tattoos who just love getting drunk, blowing stuff up and having fun. However, there are some much more intimidating factions you can find. For example, I had multiple run-ins with the Immortal Shrouded, which are kind of raiders, they're kind of mercenary-based factions, and they have a lot more advanced tech than the typical Goon Squad raiders that I found. They had some very deadly weapons, and they had some insane vehicles, and at one point I kind of made it my mission to try to steal some of their vehicles and have a go with them, because they've got some crazy weapons aboard their vehicles and I wanted to have a go with them. And of course there are various mutants throughout the game as well. Lots of scary monsters, all varying in size with different strength, different speeds, different attacks, and they will definitely keep you on your toes when they throw lots of different kind of mutants at you all at once. So you'll definitely have to swap out your combat abilities depending on what is going on at the time. So what did I actually get up to in my 90 minutes? Well, firstly, I was put very near the town of Wellsprings, which I believe is in the first game actually. And Wellsprings is for its kind of Blade Runner, neon light, Diamond City kind of station, which you can find. And it is a very cool place, lots of stuff to do, lots of NPC interaction, and it's a really cool world just walking around the city. There I had to go and meet up with the mayor, who was under attack, whose name is Lusum Hagar, who actually is a character in the very first game. She shows you how to use the wing sticks at the very start of the game. And then once I was there, I was told I had to go and meet up with someone who was in a club, and I wasn't allowed to get into this club unless I won at some of the vehicle races which you can find in the town, and I had to go and win at Mutant Bash TV, a mutant killing game show that was nearby. I didn't actually have the time to try out any of the racing section of this, but I did go down to Mutant Bash TV and I took on some of their various challenges. It was kind of a very strange kind of wave shooter kind of thing, where there was a very, very wacky TV host talking over the top, and it was very, very cool to try and take on all of these different mutants in these ever-changing, very dangerous arenas. Lots of blood, lots of gore, and it was awesome. After that, of course, I decided I kind of wanted to do my own thing, so I grabbed a nearby vehicle which had lots of ammo, and I started to drive around and explore. When I was exploring around, I did find some of these convoys, and I was able to take down the convoy, which was really, really ace. When you fight the convoys, you can't just fill it with bullets. You need to actually identify the various weak points of all of the specific vehicles you are fighting, whilst dodging all of their missiles and gunfire, etc. So you can't just go in guns blazing. You do need to kind of outdrive your opponents so you can identify those weak points and take down your opponents. And after that, I told myself, I want to go and find one of the new abilities. We were given a lot of guns and a lot of abilities at the start of the 90-minute play session. However, I wanted to find some more, so I went in search of one of the arcs, and I actually found one. I found one of these arcs, and it was actually being fought over by some of the Immortal Shrouded and the Goon Squad. Both of them were fighting each other to the death in order to try to get in. So what I did was I took care of both of them, and then I was able to get into the arc, and I was able to unlock the barrier ability, which was fantastic. It meant I could throw down a bullet shield and keep myself safe. And then for the rest of it, I spent like maybe an hour or so just going around the map and clearing settlements and clearing areas. As you drive around the map, you will find various Goon Squad or Immortal Shrouded bases, and if you kill them all and take over, you will actually build a friendship meter with whoever is in charge of that particular biome. So if you wanted to, you could just spend all of your time in one little area and just take care of every single enemy settlement in that area in order to build up your friendship with whoever is in charge of that area, so you can get maximum ability when you are in that area. So, what did I actually think of Rage 2 overall? As I said, I played it for 90 minutes, and I seriously could have spent much more time playing that, just exploring the world. I didn't even really do much of the actual kind of main campaign. I just kind of explored around and have fun. But something which is very noticeable about Rage 2 is that its graphics and sound are absolutely on point. This game looks beautiful, it sounds incredible, and it just has a perfect blend of perfect technical ability all coming together. It is definitely made by some very talented people who are brilliant at making a well-crafted game. And something which is amazing about Rage as well is that it gives you an enormous sense of freedom with the speed your main character has, with the ability to jump into most vehicles you can find and start driving around at high speed with no real restrictions. And you can just feel like you are the king of this world. And I absolutely adored going and playing Rage 2, and I can't wait to play some more. But if I was to summarize it in the simplest way, and I want this on the box art, Rage 2 is like an open world version of Doom. If you played Doom 2016, it is like that with some more abilities in an open world. And I cannot wait to go ahead and play some more Rage 2. So thank you very much for watching this video, people, and thank you very much to Bethesda for inviting me down to play Rage 2. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you are looking forward to it as well. You can pick it up on all the typical consoles and PCs on May 14th, and I really hope you found out something new about Rage 2. Until next time, I've been the final render, and you've been the audience. Remember to subscribe if you are new. We are very nearly on 55,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you around. Bye bye for now.